Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Can Jennifer Lawrence make a movie where nobody wants to kill her?
If someone's parents are murdered, why mess with them?
And should they allow just anybody to become parents?
All this and more on Gory Storytime.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig. And quickly to answer those questions, yes, because who the hell are they going to tell? And no. You're in stunned silence.
Go back and match those up. I already did.
In your head, yeah. So this week, we're doing our second of 4, because as we like to do around here, we try to do them in groups of 4. It's almost like it would be a month's worth.
And I have OCD, so it has to be an even number.
Anyway, if you really had OCD, it would be called CDO, because that's alphabetical, the way it should be. Anyway, the point is, we're doing 4 PG-13 movies. Last week, we did one.
Yeah, it was...
What the hell did we do last week?
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
That's right.
Yeah, the kids' movie.
I mean, kids' books. It had a lot of S-bombs for that. This didn't really have that, even though it seemed like it would have applied. But House at the End of the Street, starring Jennifer Lawrence as teenage girl who's in danger of being killed because she's never done that before.
All she does is play teenage girls. Still, and she's 29.
I don't think she does anymore, but the point is, the basic premise is her divorced mom moves with her into a new place, and the next door neighbor turns out to be a guy who, when he was a kid, his little sister murdered their parents. That's the first thing they learn when they move in, and that's the only reason they could afford this nice house was because the property values are low because of murder house. Next door murder house.
Next door murder house, because murder sister.
Yes. That's about all we can say without giving away a lot of twists and turns, and by a lot, I mean a couple. So before we get into all the other stuff that we do on this show, why don't we throw it to that trailer?
What are you doing?
Carrie, no!
Alyssa!
Hi, Miss Cassidy.
I'm looking for Alyssa. Is she here?
No, ma'am.
I wouldn't be angry if she's here.
Carrie, no. Promise me you won't tell anyone about Carrie yet.
Yeah, I promise.
Listen, we have a new neighbor, okay? Her name's Alyssa, and her and her mom just moved in. I want you to leave her alone, you understand me?
What
exactly happened again?
The daughter of Carrie Ann killed both her parents.
You know that house is the reason why we can even afford to rent this house.
Really?
Double murder. I think this place is going to be really good for us.
For a second, I thought I didn't like that trailer.
Because it looked like it gave something away, but we're not going to say what. So yeah, that's the trailer for House
At the end,
at the end of the street, or as I like to call it, House of a Couple Corpses. Anyway, before we get into the behind the scenes stuff, what we have to do is make it worth our while to be here. And the way we do that is we sell products. We are shills for big companies all over the world, and this is the time when we make our fat stacks of cash by selling real things that actually exist and are available in stores or online or as an app or whatever they happen to be this week. That's a lot of this. This week, Gory Storytime is brought to you by the PG-13 Dictionary. This amazing resource gives you alternatives to cussing. And yes, we know you can say shit, but why do that when there are cleaner words like shoot, shucks, and crap? And don't forget, you only get one F-bomb, so use it wisely. Then go with screw, bang, or many other less offensive words. Remember, the less you cuss, the more violence you're allowed to show and still be PG-13.
Yeah. All right. Seems legit.
Marvel!
They do that.
I know.
And by the My Little Abduction playset. My Little Abduction playset comes with everything you need to play kidnapper. A roll of duct tape, dirty rag, zip ties, a bottle of chloroform, and more. That's my Little Abduction playset from GST Industries. Warning, may contain small parts or choking hazards. GST Industries does not condone actual abductions. By purchasing this product, you agree not to kidnap any actual people.
All right. That company keeps coming back with different products, and it's never been anything great. GST
Industries?
GST Industries, GST Books, GST Films, like there's been a whole bunch. I'm assuming they're all related. I can't imagine what GST stands for, but...
I have no idea. Now back to Gory Storytime. So the film's release was moved from April 2012 to September 2012, allowing The Hunger Games to be released without this film being released the same month as originally planned.
They didn't want Jennifer Lawrence competing with Jennifer Lawrence for screen time.
This would have had no chance.
I mean, that was
a dumb reason.
This film was shot in 2perf Technoscope, whatever that means, format to provide a grainy image reminiscent of older horror films and to save money on film stock and processing. Despite this, it still says filmed in Panavision at the end.
Yeah. Good stuff. Producer Aaron Ryder had Jennifer Lawrence read for the lead role based on her performance in Winter's Bone.
Jennifer Lawrence does not actually sing in this movie. She's lip-syncing to session musician Sarah Rain's voice. However, she did record her own version of one of the songs, All You Gotta Do Is Love, which was described as not half bad.
Yikes.
That doesn't sound great.
That's not a
It's like,
compliment.
hey, that doesn't suck as bad as I thought it would. Good for you.
Right. The project was originally announced in 2003, with Jonathan Mostow directing and Richard Kelly scripting.
This is the film debut of Eva Link. Don't know who that is.
Both Jennifer Lawrence and Nolan
Gerard.
Funk have appeared in the X-Men film series. Lawrence in X-Men First Class and Days of Future Past, and Funk in X2 as a...
Captured X-Kid.
Yeah.
Both Elizabeth Shue and Nolan Jared Funk have appeared in the Hollow Man film series. She was in the first one, he was in the sequel.
The next part has spoilers.
So if you haven't seen this or you think you're going to see this and you don't want to know, this is stuff to just shh.
The final shot of Max Thieriot is very reminiscent of Psycho. Max Thieriot later starred in Bates Motel, based on Psycho.
Says the body count here is 6. And then it lists them, but I'm not going to say. Just the body count is 6. We used to give that all the time, and
We used to.
we've been failing.
Yeah.
But lately it's been popping up in the thing.
Yeah. So these next things are
More,
goofs.
yes, more mistakes. The giveaway stuff.
Yeah. In one scene, while Ryan and Alyssa are kissing in his house, the girl in the basement hears them through a baby monitor and decides to escape as a result. However, it does not make sense for Ryan to have set up the baby monitor so that only the girl in the basement can hear him while he cannot hear her. It would make more sense for the two parts of the baby monitor to be switched so that he can hear her.
Except whoever wrote this got it wrong, because as we were watching
Right.
it, there was a thing where he heard the cop knocking because it was sending a signal down to where he had his sister, and he wouldn't want it the other way because he wouldn't want people hearing the girls scream from outside the house. That was the whole point of having it be quiet down there and like
Right.
soundproof, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, she screamed and no one heard, so
So it does the job of soundproofing.
so that was a stupid fact that's false and wrong.
So get out of here.
When Tyler is smashing Ryan's car, he damages the driver's window and the front right headlight. However, later, when Alyssa, whatever, is driving the car up to Ryan's house, there's no sign of any damage.
When called to join a party after school by Tyler, Alyssa is called by her mom. First, she holds the phone in her right hand, but after a brief cut to Tyler, she holds the phone in her left hand.
Because as you know, no one ever switches hands while on the phone.
Right, because it can be more comfortable sometimes on the other side.
Or if you've been on the phone for a while, you can like people.
Right. That
Again,
happens.
that I don't like.
Kind of a dumb one.
Yeah, that one.
All right. Plot hole.
A plot hole says that when Alyssa's mother calls the house it diverts her cell phone and appears as mom on the caller ID. When the officer calls the house and it diverts, it should therefore appear as a cell phone number, but in fact it says home. I didn't notice that, but okay.
All right, that's the actual one. Revealing mistakes. Alyssa's phone was actually an iPod Touch, 4th generation.
When Carrie Ann is shown falling off the swing in a flashback, the actress's movement make it clear she's wearing a harness for the stunt. What? You mean they didn't have a small child get yanked from a moving object onto
And
the ground
die?
where the character was supposed to die by bashing its head into the ground like a rock? So you're saying they didn't do that in real life to make it that much more realistic? They didn't murder a small child for a film?
Damn.
Fake stuff.
All right.
PG-13.
Jordan Hayes, who plays the waitress Ryan kidnaps.
He kidnaps a girl?
Is credited as Penn State Carrie Ann, even though the college ID that Alyssa finds in the trash reveals her name is actually Peggy Johns.
Well, right. Because
She's the Penn State Carrie Ann. Like,
well,
there's...
no. It was Carrie Ann was who he was calling her, but it said Peggy Johns and it said Penn State for the ID for that's the school she was going to where he kidnapped her. Ergo, it was
So it's
not
not a
Carrie.
mistake.
Right. And so The people who go on IMDb and post all their mistakes are nitpicky idiots that get things wrong because they're nitpicky idiots. They're like those people on Twitter and Facebook that are like, you said this, and it's like, actually I said this. Well, it's the same. No, it's actually like 180 degrees away from what you said I said. That's right.
Yeah. Twitter bots, out of here.
The IMDb rating from the fans, from 1 to 100, has it at 41% positive reviews. What about those
Critics.
critics? How did they enjoy this film?
They didn't.
Why not?
14.
14%? That's low.
It is low.
Because it's actually not that. Anyway,
not.
well,
Whatever.
let's get into our favorite and least favorite scenes in it.
All right, so I know my least favorite.
I know
and
my
it was-
least favorite.
It was talked about in one of these facts, and we
Okay,
didn't talk about
so
it
go
before.
ahead.
So, her singing.
Yeah.
Because it cuts to her singing, and I was just like, if that's what he's supposed to listen to, I feel bad for him.
And it didn't sound like Jennifer Lawrence's voice. I
No,
know
it
some
didn't,
people
because
don't.
I know she's sang before.
Well, I know that people, like, they sound different when they sing than when they talk, but you usually, like, if you listen to Steven Tyler talk, you go, oh, yeah, that's definitely still the same Steven Tyler that sings on Aerosmith records.
Right.
Willie Nelson, when he talks, you go, yep, that's that guy,
Yeah, that's him.
that nasally ass voice. This, it was like, oh, no, that's
Obviously
not
not
her.
her,
Yeah,
right.
and it sticks out.
But it was also bad. I didn't like it.
I mean, Los Lobos, when they did the soundtrack to, what do you call it, La Bamba, they did all of the Richie Valens stuff. It's like, at no point were you watching that going, now, watching his mouth, you could see he wasn't matching up. Watching his guitar playing, you could see it wasn't matching up. But as far as his voice matching with the singing, it's like, oh, actually, they did a pretty good job with that.
Yeah.
It was just, he needed to be trained on how to lip sync better. But that's a much better movie, so let's not even
not
get
talk
into
about that one.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's not a horror movie, unfortunately, so we can't ever review it here. Except the plane crashes can be gory, so technically, no.
No. I mean, it was a horrific day in history. Okay.
You could
So-
say it's the day that the music died.
People do. So, your least favorite.
My least favorite thing, and I pointed it out as it was happening, Jennifer Lawrence smashes out a window in a door,
I laughed at it when I saw
climbs through wearing a white tank top, no glass cuts her at all, because as you know, when you hit glass with a hammer, it perfectly removes itself from the glass removes itself from the hole, leaving no shards in order to cut you. Because see, blood would have maybe made it not as PG-13. Except,
They had blood.
and you can't climb through a broken glass window and be like, well, there's not a single scratch on you. That's not how it works.
Not at all.
Especially since it was up high enough where her weight, it's not like she could like go through and like hold herself up. Like,
No, she slid right down
Yeah.
on the sill.
Yeah.
And it would have sliced her back open.
she would have had glass cuts all over.
Which is the least of her worries with the psycho guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, like, it would have made sense and she still wouldn't have stopped and, like, done anything about it. She would have kept running.
I mean, if anything, she would have tried to run faster because, ow, like, I've already been stabbed by my own actions. I certainly don't want to be stabbed by his.
Right.
If I hurt me this bad, imagine what he's going to do.
Exactly.
What was
All
your
right.
favorite scene
My
in this movie?
favorite. I mean, I liked a lot of what happened in this movie. I think the twist was pretty great
Okay.
because I didn't see it coming. It's a spoiler alert. The twist, my favorite thing, is Ryan, the kid, he actually, his sister is dead, not, and didn't murder his parents. He murdered his parents because they beat the hell out of him for not being his sister. And the twist reveal was that the girl in the basement wasn't his sister. It was a random girl he kidnapped and forced to be his sister.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and I loved that. I thought that was great.
I think my favorite part was because I'm so used to bad
Tropes.
writing. Yes,
Yeah.
you see where I'm going with
I
this.
do.
The tropes that people use over and over and over again, okay?
Especially in horror movies.
Especially in any kind of movie. Comedies got their tropes. Drama has their tropes. This is a trope where there's someone whose family has died or they're a loner for some reason. And the local cop is on their ass. I'm watching you. And they did the opposite. Everybody in town was like, F this kid. And the new woman in town basically asked the cop, like, should I be worried about my daughter being around him? And he's like, nah, he's a good kid. Like, there's nothing wrong with him. Everybody needs to just... They're mad about, the fact that there was a murder that he wasn't part of, because that was the story everyone heard. He's like, and, their property values went down because they're stuck-up a-holes.
Right.
And it's like, and that's not his fault. And I like that they did... And they didn't even make a big deal, like, look at us, we're being clever by doing the opposite. They just didn't do the thing I expected.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty great.
Yeah,
I like that cop as a character in this movie.
Yeah, whoever wrote that scene or who wrote the movie, basically, that was definitely a great thing that they didn't go, hey, what's the lazy thing everybody the hell else does? Let's do that.
Right. Well...
There was a lot of generic stuff that happened in the movie, though, as far as far as I got to get out of the house, I got to be, someone comes to check and like they figure out, oh my God, someone's in there, and then they get killed, and there was a lot of tropes they followed, but that one they didn't, at least.
And tropes aren't always bad.
No, but I like it when people have a little more imagination.
Right.
You've read some of the short stories I've written. Like, you've never read one and went, that's just like fill in any sort of blank. Even the one that was inspired by a certain comic book origin story.
Right, okay.
Like, what happened? You're like, yeah, that didn't ever happen in any of the versions of that.
Not yet.
Scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah, scale of 1 from 1 to 10. Learn how to speak before I try this. Okay. I'll give it an 8.
See, I'm going with 6 because I have seen so many movies that had so many of the same tropes.
Right.
It's not bad. It's, I'm giving it 60%. That's, except for certain teachers passing. But there are so many better versions of the, girl that needs to stay away from the guy and he tries to, like, kidnap her or whatever. Like, that story has been done to death, and this wasn't the best example of it. So...
No, which is why I don't give it higher.
It was reasonably acted.
It was, the acting wasn't bad.
I'm not a huge Jennifer Lawrence person. I know your mom's a big fan from Hunger Games and other stuff, but, like, I'm not a big fan of hers in general, like, a fanboy, but she held her own. Everybody, Elizabeth Shue's good.
I really liked the...
I think Elizabeth Shue was better.
The mom.
Yeah.
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 Well, the kid... Ryan, I don't remember the kid's name, but I say kid, I'm 19, he's 31, but the
youngster, as far as the movie was concerned.
Right, he was pretty great. I thought he was doing really good in that.
I like the actors, like I said, I've seen so many movies that are so similar that I can't.
Yeah, I don't know, I didn't see the twist coming of everything being flipped right on its head. I thought it was going to be what they told us it was going to be.
Okay.
So... Yeah, and this movie does not get enough praise. 14% is nonsense.
Yeah, that's low. And 41, I would give it, like, out of 100, I'd say it should be around 60, 65. I don't think it's great, but I don't think it's worth watching. I wouldn't go pay for it in the theater, but it's on Netflix. Watch it up. And we don't get no money from Netflix.
No.
Just from child abduction toys.
Ding! Yeah. I approve of this message. Okay, on that side of the screen.
Yes.
You can watch our show on Fact TV channel 1076. I didn't mess up this time. On
paused
Thursdays,
to read it, though.
I know. On Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
You can email us at gorystorytime@yahoo.com, except it won't do any good because for some reason Yahoo will not let me log into our account, so I'm going to have to start another one. When I do, we will let you know, but I have other stuff to worry about with having a heart attack and almost dying and stuff.
Puss. Like us on Facebook.
And by that we mean look for Gory Storytime. We post episodes, we post, memes, but also you can look
Fact
for
TV
Fact
on
TV
Facebook. They stream us live.
You might even be watching us right
they
now.
They stream us live. Can you believe that with the things we say?
Not usually on this one. But anyway, you could also go to fact8.com and look for episodes of this show and many others.
Yep. And
If you see us in person, you can leave us alone because we're celebrities and,
and we can't deal
we don't
with you
deal
plebs.
with peasants.
Ex-
Anyway,
Different word, same meaning.
Anyway.
Yes. And you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Jason T. Tiggs, capital J, capital D, capital J. I don't use that Twitter anymore, so I'm going to have to update that eventually. I forgot the password.
Oh, well, I'm at Craig Jakes, all lowercase, all one word, and I do use it, and I like to hassle politicians I disagree with. And then I share it on
but
Facebook.
when I start using it again, you can bet I'll be posting things you don't like, so follow me.
Yeah, that's about
Until
it.
next time, I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig.
And sweet
Sweet
dreams.
dreams.